Welcome to the beginning of the second quarter in 2025. We have lots of opportunities to do 55 minutes of current and relevant business talk. That's what we do on Business Morning. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and we start as usual from the global space, telling you that oil prices dipped slightly on Tuesday as worries about the impact of a trade war on global growth outweighs concerns about a hit to supply from threats by U.S. President Donald Trump to impose secondary tariff on Russian crude and bomb Iran. Look at it this morning. Brent has shed 10 cents. That's just about 0.1%, but it brings the price to $74.67. So you would notice that about this time yesterday, we had Brent at about $72. So a lot of things meeting up, but it's a drop this morning, even though we've had a surge in between. And for WTI, that has also hit $70, which is not a regular thing. So it's $71.37 after it lost 0.1%. Slower global growth would then fuel demand, which might offset any reduction in supply due to Trump's threat to bomb Iran and impose secondary tariff on buyers of Russian oil. And then after the news of Trump's threats initially boosted prices on Monday, that's why we went above what we had at this time. Traders are viewing the warning to Russia at least as a bluff. So time will tell how that will come out, or which of the factors will outweigh the other in the price of oil. Then we come to Africa now. Still tariff. Guess what? President Trump has started. It seems everybody's catching on. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger's military rulers have imposed a 0.5% tariff on imports from the economic bloc. And this follows their exit from ECOWAS to form the Alliance of Sahel States. So they call this Sahel taxes or Sahel tariff, reshaping regional trade dynamics. Analysts say that the move is likely to have a negative impact. Obviously, that could threaten about 234 billion naira in Nigerian export. Nigeria has been a key trading partner for Niger, with exports such as petroleum, gas, electricity, and cement totaling $491.4 million over the last 4 years. So we'll see how this will shape out. I know President Bola Tinubu is listening, and I'm sure that we'll get some news on this in the coming days. The host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas, also called HostCom, have revealed that host communities now receive as high as 13 billion naira a year, in line with the Host Communities Fund under the Petroleum Industry Act. And according to them, the host communities have now fully resolved to give all the needed support to ensure that the current administration of President Bola Tinubu achieve his aim of providing 2 million barrels per day or even more. They're also appealing to all parties in the crude for Naira, that's an ongoing thing, arrangement, to come back to the table and ensure that the deal, which was brought down the price of petroleum products, is maintained, as that's brought economic gains from President Bola Tinubu, who they promised to support for re-election. Politics always comes in to run again for that office.
Mr. President, I've taken up the mountain to going down to the communities through NUPRC. I'm discussing with host communities. It's going on in the Niger Delta, interfacing with the communities, and discussing with them how to maintain peace, how to secure the facilities so that the production will peak. When the production peak, community will not have any more money. That is how it is about the PIA. If there's more productivity, the community, their 3% to what? Get it higher. But if there is sabotage, they're going to reduce. As I said earlier today, before now, the communities are now having 5, 7, 13 billion annually. Then, who will now want to go and reduce it? The communities are having 7 billion last year. This year they have 13 billion, which means they are keeping their parts, and 3% is paid. But gradually, a robo or some bit per day will definitely make sure that one to Mr. President, maybe for the second tenure, we feel that he will increase it for us. I know he will increase it for us. To it to 5% or to 10%, something better. So we're going to do our parts, do well so that Mr. President will see what we are doing to ensure that communities should have more money. If the communities have, there is crisis, oil theft, vandalism would vanish to the air. God bless the president till 2031. Our revered and powerful father, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, an endorsement there for President Bola Tinubu. And of course, it's conditional. Everybody wants to protect their revenue and their income. But I mean, necessary conversation when we see that the major source of revenue for Nigeria comes from crude. So if we can boost our crude production, then we can also be sure that our deficit, our budget deficit, which is over 13 trillion, can be reduced, and debt servicing and all of that can be rechanneled into infrastructural development for the good of all Nigerians. Now, a conversation that we started yesterday about the Investments in Securities Act, which the president has assented to now. So now Nigeria should be able to boast of a modernized and globally aligned regulatory framework that has addressed key issues such as digital asset, investor protection, financial market infrastructure, and is all geared towards boosting investor confidence and strengthening the capital markets in the country. Those are some of the highlights of that ISA 2025, which the president has recently assented to. So it's now law. The Securities and Exchange Commission is now re-empowered to do what the things that would boost investor sentiment in the country. So let's delve into that with an individual at the helm of affairs right there, the Director General of Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Emomotimi Agama, joins us from Abuja studio. Dr. Agama, good morning and happy holiday to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning.
All right, so it's already an ongoing conversation. I know the crypto community would not let us be, but let's start from the top. What area does this new law enhance? We see that SEC now has more regulatory powers. What's new about the powers that SEC has from this new law?
Yes, thank you again for having me. And it's important to state clearly here that the SEC and indeed the capital market community is grateful to Mr. President for assenting to this bill, making it an act of the power of Parliament in creating an enabling environment for the regulation of the capital market in Nigeria. I must say this is a very, very important milestone in the annals of the capital market history. But going straight to your question, what new thing will this law bring to fore in the regulation of the Nigerian capital market? Our enforcement powers and investigative powers have actually been enhanced. And by so doing, we're able to deal with the malfeasance and the challenges of fraudulent practices in the Nigerian capital market. But principally, I want to state clearly that this law has enabled the SEC to request for phone records and internet records of anybody who is involved in any fraudulent practice within the Nigerian jurisdiction. This not only aligns with the international best practice, it also aligns with the principles of IOSCO, which is the International Organization for Securities Commission, wherein we can maintain our signatory A status, within the global governing body for Securities Commission. This also will bring, the commission to the front light in terms of, global recognition and regulation of the securities market, thereby enhancing investors' confidence and, of course, attracting investors into the Nigerian market. So for us, we are excited that these powers have been given to the SEC via the law, and we will exercise it to the benefit of Nigerians because, of course, our primary responsibility is investor protection, market development, and, of course, innovation.
So it does seem actually that the crypto community is the most excited about this. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a member of that community, and they're just happy that they're being recognized, given a regulatory framework actually captures them into the ecosystem. But how does this boost perhaps more investment and adoption of the virtual assets, you know, that class of assets in Nigeria?
Yes, again, Nigeria has been at the forefront of crypto regulation or digital asset regulation, not even today. Far back as September 2020, the SEC issued the circular providing clarification as to what crypto assets are, what digital assets are, and what cryptocurrencies are, and where we play the role of regulation. Haven't done that, but besides doing that, we found out exactly that we do not have a specific law that provides that power and certainty to the effect of what we are doing. And that is why, because Mr. President is very concerned about the youths of this country, who majorly are the participants in this space, it was important that we provide something that will give them that confidence, not just in Nigeria, but internationally, to put us at the forefront of the regulation of digital assets. Mind you, one of the greatest challenges of our exit from the FATF grey list is the non-availability of a regulation or a law that specifically speaks to the regulation of crypto assets or digital assets. And that has been provided, which is a green light towards our exit from the grey list. And with that, of course, what will come with it is the influx of foreign investors into the Nigerian market. Besides, it is also going to provide some level of clarity and confidence to investors who intend to play in that space. And that is very, very critical for the growth of the Nigerian capital market, providing avenues and other asset classes that will excite Nigerians, particularly the youths in Nigeria, and making sure that Nigeria becomes a place of reckon in terms of the regulation of crypto assets, digital assets, and all other innovative products that will bring succor to Nigerians in wealth redistribution.
All right, so still on that, I know that some firms have been approved, you know, to participate in that area. What else can we expect with this framework now in the crypto or virtual assets space?
Yes, so we had earlier on approved some firms into what we call the regulatory incubation and the accelerated regulatory incubation programs. These are programs designed to observe the participants in this space and provide regulations and rules that will guide their activities, and also provide comfort in terms of mitigating the risk that's associated with this investment. That was novelly done earlier on, and with the introduction of this law, basically what it does is that it empowers us, it strengthens our ability and our resolve to making sure that those regulations that are required to provide confidence, to provide transparency, to provide structure, to provide governance to this space are properly, in place. And that is very, very important if you want to invite investors from abroad, foreign investors into the country, into your climb, and making sure that innovation is not stifled as a result of regulation or law. Giving that confidence is critical in building this ecosystem, because the ecosystem has a lot of benefits to Nigerians and to the Nigerian ecosystem. So clearly, it is an important aspect and important step to take in building that confidence and bringing people back, to the Nigerian market, knowing fully well that our adoption rate is very high, second to India, and so it is very, very important that we give that assurance by way of law, and that is what Mr. President has done by signing into law the new IRSA 2025.
Can we expect a breakdown, for instance, of some of these laws? Because with what you have said, with what we have seen, it's wholesome. So we see virtual assets and all of that. Of course, we know that there are different parts. Can we expect, is there going to be maybe an arm, a department of SEC, for instance, that's going to be saddled with the responsibility to really study and break down the different aspects of attracting investors, not just the individual, but at least institutional investors? Because as you have noted, even when it was not so accepted, the followership from Nigeria is really high. Can we expect anything like that that will give more face and clarity to the virtual assets investors or community in, maybe the short period?
Yes, thank you again. If you remember very clearly that during the inauguration of this board by the Honorable Minister for Finance and the Coordinating Minister for the Economy, he hammed on the fact that he will expect the new board and management to dwell on innovation. And dwelling on innovation simply means that we must look forward and we must be proactive. Following that directive from the Honorable Minister for Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, it was important that the SEC moved forward faster than it would ordinarily have done. And in that spirit, being proactive, the SEC established a department which is specifically dedicated to fintech and innovation. So we have a whole department that is specifically dedicated to doing that. And we have committees within the SEC with experts drawn from every department of the SEC to make sure that the work of that department is enhanced and it is speedily done. So for us at the SEC, we have actually moved ahead and bringing the law into being by the assent of the president is just to confirm what we already have started doing and making sure that nobody is actually in doubt of our capacity, our ability, and our intent to making sure that a regulatory framework or an environment is provided for digital asset operators and, of course, investors. So we are confident that with these laws in place and with regulations in place, which we have also just updated, and it is currently on an exposure level in the Nigerian capital market, to see that every area that needs to be taken care of, providing that strength and confidence is already taken care of, and of course gives everybody the desire to come and be part of this very, very important event that is happening now in Nigeria.
All right, another aspect is dealing with schemes, fraudulent schemes and all that. What new thing can we expect in that aspect?
Yes, this is very, very heart-touching, because we realize as SEC that a lot of people still fall prey to fraudulent schemes by unscrupulous persons in this country. And the SEC, being the regulator of the capital market, being the regulator of investments and securities business in Nigeria, will certainly not leave any stone unturned in dealing with those situations. However, the law in 2007 did not give enough powers to the SEC to be able to deal with this. That has been addressed. And so we have very strict sanctions and stiffer mechanisms and enforcement tools to deal with these events now. So for us at the SEC, it is a great day, because at this point, everyone caught in this act will either face a jail term and, of course, will be fined heavily, because that is what we are going to do to sanitize this system. The intention of the SEC, and indeed the objective of the SEC, is investor protection. It's much more than any other thing. And so whatever we can do to protect investors, to give them assurance, to give them confidence, to give them, comfort in terms of investing in Nigeria in whatever security or asset class, that is what we will do. And the law has now provided us with these powers, and we are going to exercise it without fear or favor.
There's also the aspect on mergers and acquisitions. Now I think the banks are really be the first perhaps to use that. Their capitalization going on. They have about a year left. For banks, I think, that cannot meet up, they might have to merge and go into acquisition. What's different about this?
Well, what is different is that things are going to be done more speedily. They've actually started being done speedily. If you are following the SEC's activities in the last 11 months, you will find out that we have reduced time to market to 14 days. And the banking consolidation or recapitalization that has happened within this time has shown tremendous success in the light that currently we have raised for the market over 2.4 trillion naira for the bank recapitalization. That is a feat that has never been achieved before, and we have done it so seamlessly using e-offerings, technology, and speed to provide efficiency and confidence in the Nigerian capital market. So clearly, the banks are happy, and I'm sure the regulators of the banks are also happy because we are providing the enabling environment to make these things seamless. And we'll continue to do so. We believe strongly as the banks get to close the recapitalization exercise regarding the timeline provided to them by their primary regulators, the SEC is there to make sure that mergers and acquisitions that will happen in this process are done timeously and seamlessly in order to give confidence to the people who patronize the Nigerian capital market. We're inviting Nigerians to come back to the market because we know a lot of them had left the market before. But it's a new dawn for the capital market, more importantly, with the emergence of the ISA 2025. It is certainly a new story that we'll tell, and we will make sure that we'll do everything to provide the services that we are expected to provide as the apex capital market regulator.
All right, thank you so much, Director General of Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Imomotimi Agama. And of course, we have high expectations with this new law.
Yes, certainly we do, and we are happy to be the ones to pilot this event, courtesy of Mr. President's signature on the bill.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
You too.
All right, now let's take a break. When we come back, another issue. You heard of B-Odogwu. Before now, you've been hearing Odogwu. Yes, it's an Igbo word and all of that. It's now official, at least in the trade space in Nigeria. We'll talk about that and expectation. What's going on with it? That will be after this break here on Business Morning. Just stay with us. You're welcome back. In October 2024, the Nigeria Customs Service, they launched the B-Odogwu platform, and it's supposed to help and bring about seamless trade processing. The complaints around our ports are not new. Will this be the solution? We have joining us right here in the studio Mr. Festus B-Odogwu. He's the president of Blue Diamond Logistics. He's also the chief executive officer of Shanghai Engineering Works. So he has first-hand experience with the ports and trade. So, the Easterners won it this time. You named the whole customs platform after, from the language on the East, B-Odogwu, and I know you people are happy.
Honestly speaking, I'm happy. Being a Yoruba man at the head of Affair of Custom, approving such name, that shows he's a detribalized Nigeria. I'm so happy for him.
All right, so how is this supposed to work? We've been hearing of cumbersome processes at the trade, too much agents and agencies involved. So what is this supposed to do? It was launched since October. Is it working already?
No, last month, the CG called for a stakeholders meeting at Apapa. What was done that there was pre-launch. It has not yet fully in place. That's pre-launch of this new platform. But I want the viewers to understand the concept of this platform, why the leadership of custom under this current CG Adewala put this in place. I was there when he called for this very stakeholders meeting, and I was so impressed. Because why I was so impressed is that I, that lives in China for over 20 years now, I had a lot of negative things about custom, but sitting with him that day changed my narrative about custom. I saw resilience, I saw passion, I saw commitment. I saw somebody who wanted to project custom services. What B-Odogwu stands for, I heard it from him directly that day. He said B stands for border. In fact, he cautioned people that the name is Odogwu, and it's an indigenous name for an indigenous software designed to solve our problem, indigenous problem. It's a welcome development. And the essence of it is to modernize clearing process, make it paperless. In fact, after narrating the processes, and we are so impressed, because I think the old platform they are using is a bit updated. But with this very current platform, it has the capacity to absorb all kinds of transactions across the globe. And it's in line with international customs strategic platform in terms of checkmating trade. In fact, B-Odogwu mainly, in fact, the whole idea is that importers, stakeholders can sit at the comfort of your office at home and transact your business. You can log in, and many people have started logging in now. And in that very meeting, the terminal that have used this to do testify the process is good. It's not really fully in place. And last week, I learned that they circulated a letter to banks to integrate to this very platform. So it's under the process now. He came to give us a kind of pre-launch. And I also want to commend them, because even in my own terminal, my staff there have been asked to go for training. They have also set up a team, training staff, terminal staff across the nation. They also training stakeholders, and also apportioned a dedicated team that respond to all our challenges. It was a welcome development. I did not even expect such from what I heard about custom.
All right, it's good to hear good news from your country or about your country, even if it's once in a while. I'm glad that you have good testimony so far, even though you, as you said, it's not yet circulated. But one would have expected that if it was launched since October, we're in the second quarter now, that we would have seen a spread of it. But I guess, as you said, there's the need for training.
No, there's a need for training. It's not something that one can just go into there, because the platform is designed in such a way that, as I said before, you will stay at the comfort of your home. So
stakeholders will, do they have to register to the B-Odogwu platform?
Exactly.
How do you do it?
Yes, for now, a platform, an app has been created. When I was going through the app, I found out that it's something that is easier. As I said before, that why I'm commending this very leadership of custom, it's an indigenous software created for indigenous, to solve our indigenous problem. What that means that the customs understand our challenges in clearing. It's paperwork.
So it's an app.
Yes, it's an app has been created already. It's b-odogwu.custom.gov.ng. Once you click in, even at the comfort of your home, you can download you can open a form there, you can download your power there. Everything is online.
So you can, if you want to export, if you want to import.
Everything does take, when you open the app, you ask to put on your TIN number, you enter your TIN number, and you follow the process. It's seamless. It's a welcome development. I'm only calling for sustainability of this very platform, because from what I'm seeing, if well utilized, if well managed, I think the global world will know that something new is happening in the customs sector in Nigeria.
Okay, so just before we all get excited, we know that we know this is our Nigeria, and even though it's an app, it is still people that will operate it. We have apps for immigration, and if you want to do your passport, but we know what's still going on. If you go to the passport office, you see a lot of people, because somehow, if you want to renew your driver's license, you're supposed to be able to do it from the comfort of your house. If you want to renew your VIO and all, you're supposed to be able to do it online. But we know that it doesn't really work. So in your conversations and all of that, have you brought out some of these fears and possible concerns? Are there ways to checkmate that?
I told you that why I'm excited is because I was at that stakeholders meeting chaired by this current CG. And testimony was given by different terminals that this Odogwu platform had been launched. So they testified that it's easier. That gave me a lot of confidence. And in that very meeting, I heard from CG setting up a monitoring team, tireless personnel that's responding to calls, training and retraining, because they know these challenges may arrive. As of now, we the importers or stakeholders are having one challenge or the other, because since the process of this migrating to this new Odogwu, it has slowed down the transactions at Apapa port and so many ports, because it's like they have network failures always, which the team is also working. So what I'm trying to say is that last time I granted interview to one of the media houses, and I told them that the sustainability of this project is what is key, what is paramount, because we Nigerians are good in formulating policies, but sustaining it is the problem.
What do you think can be put in place to ensure the sustainability?
Exactly, yeah, I talk about that when I granted them interview, that look, the team that have been set up by custom now should always respond to challenges because it's a new app. There must be challenges. And this team also confirmed to us that they are ready. Once we can get information, you call and say, oh, we are having problem, especially with the stakeholder that runs terminal. We're having problem logging in, we're having social problem. Be there to respond to us. Once this team is set up and they're efficient, I'm sure it's good to go.
Okay, I'll believe with you.
No, very sure, very sure.
Let's be optimistic. Well, some days ago, the customs boss had asked CBN to grant approval for authorized dealer banks to be integrated to the platform so that it will also ease. Have you heard anything about that?
Sector, right?
No, the CBN, they're asking that banks be allowed to be integrated into the B-Odogwu. Has that happened?
I said it before at my earlier stage in this interview. I said letter have been circulated to bank because bank need to integrate to this very platform.
Have they started integrating?
Yeah, it's on the process now. My conversation with one of the bank told me that it's ongoing. As I said before, they just did pre-launch. So testing is ongoing in different sectors. Because it's not everybody have to key into that platform to make it seamless, paperless, to modernize the operation of custom. That is the whole essence of it.
Do we have an idea how long this, adoption and training?
I'm yet to get the duration, but from what I heard, maybe they are in a position to. I have not gotten the duration, whether it will in the next 3 months or 4 months or 1 month. But as I speak to you now, different agents, different terminal holders are linking up to that. Even in my own terminal, we have started linking up to that very platform already. So it's ongoing. Maybe in a few months it will fully launch. What they are trying to do, they don't want a situation whereby if this platform comments, they don't want any hinges. So that's why they are taking their time, testing it in various terminals, getting complaints, getting feedback from the stakeholders. Say welcome development, because this is the way to go. You can't just launch such thing without involving the stakeholders. And that the stakeholders applauded him, as I said before.
So you have a vast experience operating in China.
Yeah.
What would you say? I mean, thank God we have a new platform now. It's at the teething stage and all of that. What are some of those ideas that you think we can borrow from, the Chinese experience into this B-Odogwu and some other related issues? Madam,
it may be difficult because the peculiarity there in China is different from this, the way we operate in this country. That's why I said I love this concept. The word alone, an indigenous name, an indigenous software designed to solve our indigenous challenges. So customs, being at the head of the affair, who knows the challenges we are passing through, design this platform, one, to tackle those challenges. In China, where I operate, they have their own platform, whereby it's similar, just like what we are.
What's the name of their own platform? Is it also indigenous? I'm just curious.
I don't know whether if it's indigenous, but it's easier. It's there in my office in China. My staffs in China can be on their computer, do booking, do everything, send everything online, and that is all. It's seamless, and this is what the Nigerian government is the Nigerian customer is trying to introduce now. Paperless. Before, everything is done by paper type, go to this place, go to this place. No. Now, at the comfort of home. Now, if you want to import now, I want to have a full container load, just log in. A corporate company can input their team number and also operate. Before you import anything, both from both PAL, everything had any document relating to what you want to import, you're expected to send it there on that platform. It's more easier. So what I'm trying to say is this platform is designed to solve our local problems. They understand. Probably a custom man is at the head of the affair, so he understands our problem. That's why I was so happy about it. I pray they sustain this trend.
We pray with you. We pray because it's all for the good. It's all for the good of our country.
But apart from that, there's other areas I may want Nigerians custom authority to look into. If you have designed to make sure that we have seamless process in clearing our goods, there's other impediments like the trucking from Apapa port to various terminals. There's a lot of challenges there. You know, before there was this e-column that was introduced. We are still having hinges on that e-column. I want the customs authority to investigate. We pay so much money just to allow our truck inside there. The platform is being abused, and I want the customs to really help the stakeholders on this very matter. Other challenges, let them look at, because if it's a chain, if one sector is working, another sector is not working, it will affect the whole process, and the essence of this platform will be defeated. So I just want them to look at it. We are having serious issue. And also issue of the network failure. I pray that with this platform, the issue of network failure will be a thing of the past.
Yeah, that network failure, because it's a national infrastructure that they are building and working on. So, let's stay optimistic. Okay. That's the spirit you brought in. So let's keep it and hope that things are different this time around. Thank you so much, Mr. Festus B-Odogwu, President of Blue Diamond Logistics and Chief Executive Officer of Shanghai Engineering Works.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so let's head to the global space now, see what's happening outside our continent. And we start from the UK, where UK house prices failed to grow for the first time in 7 months. That's a sign that buyers may be showing more restraint with their offers due to expiration of a major tax break, which happens today. The nationwide house index in the UK rose 3.9% year-on-year in March 2025, matching the pace of February. Compared to the previous month, house prices stalled after a 0.4% increase in February. However, activity is expected to improve steadily as summer progresses and supported by favorable conditions for UK home buyers, including low unemployment, rising real wages, strong household finances, and a potential moderation in borrowing costs if the bank rate is lowered. On a quarterly basis, house prices went up 3.9% from the previous year, with Northern Ireland leading with a 13.5% annual growth, more than double the next highest in Q1 and the region's strongest since 2021. Scotland saw a 3.9% rise, while Wales followed at 3.6%. So the U.S. Tesla stocks just wrapped up its worst quarter since 2022, suffered its third steepest drop in the company's 15 years on the public market. What's going on? Well, shares of the electric vehicle maker plunged 36% in the first 3 months of 2025. The last time Tesla had a worse stretch was at the end of 2022, when the stock created 54%, and that quarter included the CEO, Elon Musk's sale of more than $22 billion worth of Tesla shares to finance his $44 billion acquisition of Twitter. We call it X now. Well, Musk has said that his artificial intelligence startup XAI has acquired X in a deal valuing social media company at $33 billion. Well, Tesla's first quarter drop wiped out over $460 billion in market cap. The majority of the quarter overlaps with Musk's time in the second Trump administration. Of course, we know Doge. He's heading Doge there, and perhaps it's the sentiment around what he's doing with Doge that has spread to his company at this time. Then we head to Russia, where the S&P Global Russia Manufacturing PMI went down less than the productive or positive state, 48.2 in March 2025, down from February's 50.2, marking the first contraction since last September. And it's because of renewed contraction in output and new orders. The latest reading also marks the steepest contraction since April 2022, when output shrinking the most since July 2022. The new orders fell, first time since last October, and at the fastest pace in almost 3 years, weighed by declines in both domestic and foreign sales. Employment increased marginally, with the job creation the second fastest since last August. Meanwhile, the backlogs of work declined at the steepest rate since February last year, 2024. Australia's central bank has left its cash rate steady as widely expected, but took a small step towards further easing in a policy meeting dominated by risks of a global trade war. Wrapping up its April policy meeting, the Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, held interest rates steady at 4.1%, having just cut them by a quarter point in February for the first time in over 4 years. The statement also drops an explicit reference to being cautious about cutting rates again in a slightly dovish tone. It also omitted a sentence that upside risks to inflation remain. The Governor Michelle Bullock, in the post-decision press conference, said that board did not discuss a rate cut this time, and a slightly dovish turn in the statement did not open the door to an easing in May. The Australian dollar, we see, pecked up 0.3% at 0.62, while the 3-year bond futures held steady at 96.31. Swaps moved around for the RBA decision and implied a 60% probability of a rate cut at the next policy meeting in May. Romania is next, and seasonally adjusted unemployment rate edged up to 5.6% in February 2025 from January's 7-month low of 5.5. The number of unemployed persons rose 6,000 from a month earlier to 456.8 thousand. The jobless rate for men inched down 5.7 from 5.8 in the previous month, while that for women went up 5.3 from 5.1. In February 2024, the jobless rate was lower at 5.2%. The Asian countries now, Japan's 10-year government bond yield held steady around 1.5% on Tuesday after declining for 3 consecutive sessions as investors digest mixed economic data. Official figures shows that Japan's unemployment rate unexpectedly fell to 2.4 in February from 2.5 in the previous month. However, business sentiment weakened in the first quarter, reflecting mounting concerns over potential impact of U.S. tariffs on Japan's export-driven economy. The latest economic indicators add uncertainty to the Bank of Japan's outlook for further interest rate hikes. Meanwhile, United States President Donald Trump's trade escalations clouded the economic outlook, boosting demand for safe haven assets. We know that gold did hit new high in the last couple of days. Mr. Trump is set to begin that reciprocal and auto tariffs this week, specifically tomorrow. You're supposed to see that. Still in Japan, in spring, tourists go there for cherry blossoms. In fall, for foliage towers. Now, more travelers are booking winter trips to Japan as the country's reputation as a world-class skiing destination continues to lure visitors from Asia Pacific and beyond. Foreign visitors to Japan went up 33% this past winter from pre-pandemic levels. Some 10.5 million visitors arrived from December 2024 to February, and that's up 7.9 million during the same period in 2018. This is according to Japan National Tourism Organization. Many are flocking to the slopes of Niseko and Hakuba, and along with other skiing areas like Yamagata and Yuzawa, and they received record tourist visitation for this period. The The South Korean won is strengthened towards 1,470 for a dollar, though it's near 2-month low, as strong exports and trade surplus for the second straight month lifted sentiment for the export-driven currency. Latest data shows that South Korea's export rose 3.1% year-on-year to a 3-month high of $58.3 billion in March, with all its sectors posting growth for the first time in 8 months. And this despite, the ongoing trade uncertainties and tariff. In response to trade concern, the industry minister states that the government would use all available resources to ease uncertainties, including ongoing talks with the United States and swift support measures for local economies. Meanwhile, political uncertainty continues to weigh on sentiment in that country as the Constitutional Court announced that it will deliver its ruling on President Yoon's impeachment this Friday. And South Korean automaker Hyundai warns that U.S. dealers are evaluating the price strategy in the face of forthcoming 25% tariff on imported vehicles and parts announced by President Donald Trump. Randy Parker, the chief executive officer of Hyundai and Genesis Motor North America, told dealers in a note that current vehicle prices is not guaranteed and may be subject to change for units wholesale after tomorrow, April 2nd, when that reciprocal tariff is supposed to set in. Analysts expect automakers will have to make significant hike in vehicle prices if the new tariff remain in place for an extended period. So we hope it doesn't. But for now, we'll start that tomorrow. Let's look at India now. We know that India is one of those countries that may be affected by that secondary tariff because they do patronize or purchase a lot of Russian oil. So if that will affect them. But India's benchmark index has inched lower today, dragged by information technology stocks as caution prevailed following U.S. President Donald Trump's comment about that broader reciprocal tariff. The Nifty, we see, opens lower at 0.25. BSE also opens lower, 0.4. But let's look widely at this, the India economy, and some of the strategies or some of the impact that they're facing with what's going on that begins tomorrow. For instance, the secondary tariff that's supposed to kick off tomorrow. Dr. Lipika Sharma joins us from New Delhi. Dr. Lipika is Advocate Supreme Court of India. She's also a senior consultant on United Nations Women and the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Vidaki Yam Foundation. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Sharma, and welcome to the program.
Namaskar, and thanks very much for having me.
Great. So we see.
Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, Dr. Sharma. So, so we see, for instance, I think the newest one is the secondary tariff. Talking about the tariff trade war that's going on, we know that India does depend a whole lot on Russian oil, and they stand the risk of being imposed with secondary tariff. But other than that, or in the midst of all that, how much impact has all this trade tariff and trade war, how has it affected the Indian economy?
Thanks for that question, very dynamic one and very crucial when we talk about not only Indian economy but global economy as a whole. So I'll start by saying this is US reciprocal trade tariff 2025 has introduced new duties on imports, and the impact has been really challenging for India, affecting its exports, manufacturing, investment and trade balances. And I say so that it has impacted hugely because as US is India's largest trading partner, and India-US trade hit USD 119.71 billion in 2023-24, which is humongous. And out of this, I'll say 77.51 billion was in export, 42.19 billion was in imports, resulting into trade surplus of USD 35.31 billion. So as an internal analysis, I'll say New Delhi estimated that it would be affected approximately 87% of total exports to the US, which is worth 66 billion USD. So now India is on a tightrope walk. Yes, but how? Let's understand how India is going to deal with it and how much will be able to balance it. So it is open to reducing tariff on 55% of US good it imports, 123 billion, as a part of trade negotiations which are already going on in the first phase of trade deal. 5 to 30%. So India is ready to substantially lower tariffs or even scrap some entirely. That's what the initial feelers are when we talk about negotiations. That is aiming to mitigate the impact of reciprocal tariffs. And this is, mind you, is going to be a biggest cut in years aimed at fending off reciprocal tariff. And as before joining your show, I was trying to gather information because it's going to be implemented on 2nd of April. So I was trying to gather the feelers, what is happening today. So as per today's reports, India has reportedly offered tariff cuts on range of US imports, particularly agriculture products, which was a major issue with US, and these includes items such as almonds, Cadbury's, and a long list of products critical to ongoing trade discussions. It will have a crucial impact when we are negotiating. India has already slashed tariff on bourbon whiskey, reducing them from 150% to 100%, benefiting big US brands. And I'll additionally put it like India's February budget has reduced custom duty on luxury cars, solar cells, machinery, which lowered its peak import to 70% to 150. Average tariffs also dropped below, I'll say, 11 to 13%. So both countries are actively working to find common ground, as both are old global partners in trade, with India preparing to drop tariffs and increase energy purchases for a potential resolution is being laid as both sides continue to navigate this complex trade relation. I'll say offer of tariff cuts hints on relief from obviously Trump government as well. So New Delhi estimates increase of 6 to 10% of tariff on items such as pearls, minerals, fuels, machinery, boilers, electric equipments, which make up half of its export to the US.
But
half of our export.
Dr. Sharma, does it sound like India will also have to reroute its trade, for instance, seek new trade partners amidst all of this? Yes, the talks are on with the US.
Thanks for that wonderful question. I was coming to that these are the impacts, but how India is going to deal with it. So first, India is going to counterbalance the impact of US tariff. First thing is strengthening the trade ties with Europe, Asian countries and Middle East, which India is already doing it, but India need to escalate it. For example, Indian export to European Union already grew in the first quarter of 2025 by 8.5%. And India is in negotiations to finalize free trade agreements with various other nations I have already mentioned in those jurisdictions. Despite this reciprocal trade tariff issue with US, I would like to put it on record that there is still an increase of foreign direct investment from the side of US in India. For example, Apple increased iPhone production in India by 20%, coming to two of the leading states in India, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Along with that, Tesla and semiconductor companies like Micron are investing and ramping up Indian operations to bypass US-China trade conflicts. So India is quite balanced, and with US as well, I would like to say it very clearly, though initially how we see from a perspective of global trade, it seems very, I'll say, shaky scenario, but I must quote 2-3 days back only, President Trump very clearly stated that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a very smart man and a great friend of mine, and our talks work out very well between India and US. And I'm sure all of us are hanging on that, and it's going to work out, balancing from both sides. India bringing things down and balancing that trade, US and India trade.
All right, Dr. Sharma, we hope, as you have said, he's a great friend of India, and that being a very smart man, he will count the costs. And, yes, we would have a friendly conclusion or compromise to all of this. Thank you so much. That's the much we can take. Dr. Lipika Sharma, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and also the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Vidaki Yam Foundation.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. Well, so you see, every country is concerned, every country is affected. After all, the United States is the biggest economy in the world. So, I mean, you sneeze, everybody catches a cold. But India said they're having some talks, and hopefully we'll hear some compromise that will suit the situation of both countries. Thank you so much for being a part of Business Morning this morning. Another 55-minute gone just like that. We have another one coming tomorrow. But before then, at 1 p.m., I'll be back with Aniti Edits while the markets are closed. Aniti always has a way of cooking up something, so you don't want to miss it, as well as other stories we'll bring to you from the business scene in Nigeria and Africa. I'm Ini John Mekwa. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.